Okay, welcome back. This is the final chat in the series Accessible Self-Care During COVID-19. I'm Alison Oltker. I use the pronouns she, her, and I'm a naturopathic physician, the owner of PranaVis Medicine, and a yoga instructor here with Team Yoga Wild. I get really nerdy about this topic. I love this topic about circadian rhythms. So briefly, every human has a clock in their brain. It's a master clock, a cluster of cells up in the brain, and really it's in charge of most of the rhythms of the body. Now, if you've ever had the experience of, say, pulling a bunch of late-nighters, all-nighters even, during, let's say, a finals week, and then getting sick afterwards, or even it's not uncommon for people to run a long race like a marathon and then get very sick afterwards. We know that when the body is under tremendous amounts of stress, that levels of the hormone cortisol are elevated. So cortisol is intricately connected with the circadian cycle of the body. When the sun comes up in the morning, levels of cortisol naturally rise, and when the sun goes down in the evening, levels of cortisol naturally fall. We also have another hormone in the body, melatonin, that works in opposition to cortisol. So the opposite is true. When the sun comes up, levels of melatonin fall, and when the sun goes down, levels of melatonin rise. And cortisol and melatonin are always working together to keep the circadian cycle moving. Now, of course, these days, we don't just have the sun, we have electricity, and we have the power at any time of day to alter these levels of melatonin and cortisol. One of the most important things that you can do to maintain a healthy level of cortisol throughout the day is to honor the sleep-wake cycles. I think most of us have heard the recommendation that we should shut down blue lights, the quality of light that comes from screens, laptops, Kindles even, that we should shut those down for about 2 hours prior to going to bed. And I think that recommendation is absolutely solid. It's an important thing to do. But there is new emerging research that is actually really exciting because it makes this whole idea more accessible for people. It turns out that the best way to create the circadian cycle is actually to witness with your eyes the rising of the sun. Specifically, what the eyes are looking for is color gradations. So for example, on those mornings or those evenings when we have these beautiful sunrises and sunsets, the eye is picking up those colors and that differential and sending a message back to the circadian, this cluster of cells in the brain, that now's the time to wake up. And then if we do this again in the evening, that now is the time that we're coming closer to the time to go to bed. Okay? It doesn't take a lot of time. Those mornings when it's really pretty, or those evenings when it's really pretty out there, it really only takes about 2 minutes of watching it in order to set this rhythm throughout the day. Now, most of you who live in the Pacific Northwest, the first question you're going to ask is, it's gray and rainy most days. What do we do during that? Well, it turns out if there's not a lot of color differential there, then what we need to do is actually spend more time out there, so closer to 10 to 15 minutes. The next question that people ask is, do I have to be actually outside? And the simple answer is no. It's best to be by a window. It's good to be by a window, but it is actually best to be outside to watch this. Okay, so if the best you can do is sit by a window, please do that. But one of the, for example, the sweet things that has come out of our own social isolation in my home is that my partner isn't traveling very much these days, and he and I have been able to sit on our porch, covered with blankets and with hats, and share a cup of coffee as we've watched the sun come up. And then what I've done with my family during this time is at sunset, we all go out and walk the neighborhood, bike the neighborhood. We get out and spend some time viewing the sunrise. That's helped us keep a rhythm during this time and helped us keep our cortisol levels from going too high or going too low, therefore helping the immune system to do its job. Okay, it's a simple step, and it can be a really sweet way to bring rhythm to your day during these times of isolation. Okay, so we covered, to recap, nasal breathing. We covered the immune system, using movement to support the immune system, using hydrotherapy to support the immune system. We covered a little bit about the microbiome and using fiber to help that part of the body. And finally, we talked about the best way to manage cortisol and circadian rhythm in the body. Thank you for joining me. Again, my name is Alison Olt-Kerr. Please share this with a friend or loved one, anyone you think it would benefit. And again, subscribe to Yoga Wild's YouTube channel. Okay. Stay well out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Give yourself some distance from other people. Check your temperature from time to time, and stay safe.